Well, wearing masks is now mandatory in public places across the Tennessee Valley, but how do you enforce something like that? And what if somebody has a medical condition where they can't wear a mask? Our Kenesha D spoke with law enforcement and a health expert on answers to those questions. Here she is.
I spoke with one Huntsville woman, CONSTANCE, GILLON, who says at two different donut shops she's seen employees improperly wearing a mask or not wearing one at all.
I walked in, the guy behind the counter, nose hanging out. I turned to look at the cashier, mask was on the chin.
Last week, Madison County Sheriff Kevin Turner shared on Facebook that the sheriff's office stance is not to arrest people, but have an educational approach.
If for some reason there's an issue where education does not work, we will document the incident and then notify the Madison County Health Department for a follow-up.
GILLON disagrees.
There have been several people who have reported to the health department, only to be told to call the police department, only to be told to call legal. And so we're seeing a serious case of pass the buck.
WZDX News also received complaints from people being denied service for not wearing a mask at a business, although they say they have a medical condition.
Keep in mind, the business has the authority to ask you to leave their establishment in the event the person or persons are not abiding by the local health order.
Huntsville Hospital infectious disease specialist Dr. Ali HASSOUN also says surgical masks are an option versus wearing cloth face coverings.
Surgical or procedure masks, I have not heard any significant issues of respiratory problem or breathing issues. Especially, we've used it for many, many years and no issues.
Sheriff Turner says if people want to report a violation, to call their non-emergency line and a deputy will respond depending on the severity of the call. Putting the Valley first, Kenesha Dees, WZDX News.
And folks, while masks are mandatory, let's also remember it's important to wear them properly. The CDC suggests that you wear a cloth face covering that protects your nose and mouth. They also say to avoid touching those areas of your face as well as your eyes. Health experts stress how important it is to follow these guidelines.
If you put it just on the mouth, all secretion through the nose is going to be possibly transmitted to the others, or the other way around.
Health experts suggest washing your cloth face covering regularly.